Hey, good morning, Daily Dosers. My name's Austin Payne, and I'm one of the high school pastors on our Vista campus. And there's this old adage where there was this small town in the Swiss Alps, and the thing that made this town kind of stand out was these beautiful streams that came in from different angles. And the legend has it that there was this old man that was hired just years ago, and as long as the town's been around, this man's been around, and his sole job was to live up in the hills, kind of unseen, and he was the sole keeper of the springs that fed the streams that came into this town, that just where it got its beauty and it glistened from. And the children went down and played, and you could see the fish swimming at the bottom and just crystal clear geysers, and the geese would fly in, and there were bridges all over this town, and it's where it got its beauty from. And the story goes that there was kind of these new leadership came into power and figured, man, we don't have the budget to pay some unseen man that lives up in the hills that we don't really know what he does. There's not a lot of accountability there. And we have so many needs here in town. There's a bridge that needs to be built. These roads need to be repaved. The school needs to be enhanced. And so they fire the old man, and they take the tax dollars as they were and pour them into the town itself. And the funny thing is for a little bit, nobody notices. And yet, as time passes, there's certain portions of the stream that bog up, and waste goes in, or a branch falls here and there and kind of diverts the stream. And what ends up happening is, slowly but surely, the water gets a little murkier, and the geese start disappearing, and all of a sudden the stream, it starts bringing a little bit of sickness into the town, and children are no longer allowed to go down and play into it. And it takes the leadership a little bit of time to realize something's changed. And in the middle of that, they realize they need to rehire this old man and put him back in his post. And again, up in the hills with the unseen work, he goes back and he removes branches and removes waste and diverts the stream back to where it was supposed to go. And life comes back into the town. The geese revisit, the water clears up, and the health comes back into play. And I think it's a story that Dallas Willard tells, and what he's getting at is the stream is our soul. It's the core of who we are, this inner part, and we're the keeper of that. And yet, I think for me, I spend a lot of time working on the outward things, right? In the town, the bridge is important, the roads are important, the school system is an important aspect, but if the unseen isn't worked on, if we aren't taking the hard, deliberate work in private places, then when it comes to the public spaces, we might be missing it, and we might have this facade going on. And it's almost the difference between a mirage and an oasis, right? From afar, they look like the same thing, but as you get closer and closer, one of them has this life-giving water, and the other is just an image of water. It's a farce. And one of my favorite chapters of the Bible is Psalm chapter 1, that gives us this imagery of a man or a woman whose delight is in the law of the Lord, and they meditate on this day and night, and that person's like a tree planted by streams of water, and they yield their fruit in its season. Their leaf does not wither, and whatever they do prosper. And Jesus picks up on this same imagery in John 15 when he says, "Abide in me and I will abide in you." It's like a branch and a tree, and if they're connected, if they're abiding, if they're staying, if there's this active stillness throughout your day, then you will bear much fruit. And I think the challenge for me is, in the midst of the craze, in the midst of the busyness, I find myself either listening to another podcast or reading another book or catching a sermon in the car, and spending a lot of time working on myself and working on improving or diving into God's word. And I think all of those things are good things, and yet I'm encouraged by this story of Dallas Willard and this psalm to remember the stream that feeds my life, and to be the keeper of that stream. And when was the last time I just paused and I just ruthlessly eliminated hurry from my life to really care about the details and say, man, I want to spend some time in prayer today, not so that I can get something out of prayer, but simply so I can rest and lean back with my Father and remember, man, I want the stream of my life and my soul and the core of who I am to be the thing that causes me to thrive. And Carey Nieuwhof, he said, what are we doing today? What are we setting up today to help us thrive tomorrow? And I think that's an important aspect of my day. I want to spend time today caring for the stream, even if it's the unseen work, and even if I don't see the results immediately, but I know long term that's the thing that's going to bring health into my life. Thanks, Daily Dosers. We'll catch you tomorrow.